Jeff Easter, Cheryl, Sedgwick County, and from Sumner County, Sheriff Darren Chambers. So we're going to give you an overview of what occurred last night with the officer-involved shooting, which it really was initiated in Wichita and then left the city and went through a couple of other counties. So the incident really began yesterday, Wednesday, April 12th, when officers were watching residents in the 1900 block of West Rita for a known 25-year-old male who was wanted by the Kansas Department of Corrections on an absconder warrant. Officers had been recently attempting to locate and arrest the suspect and had tried previously on other occasions. They observed a 2017 silver Chevy Cruze leave the residence and believed the suspect to be inside the vehicle at about 11:30 p.m. In the area of Pawnee and Seneca, officers attempted to stop that vehicle at that time. The vehicle accelerated from officers and fled eastbound on Pawnee, and officers continued to pursue the vehicle through the city of Wichita and surrounding area. At about 11:51, Sedgwick County Sheriff's officers became involved in the chase in the area of 79th Street and Hydraulic, and at this time took over primary in the pursuit. And I'll let Sheriff Easter talk about what happened from that point forward.
Thank you, Chief. Well, good afternoon. As the Chief had stated, the pursuit started about 23 or 11:39 hours. WPD asked for a vehicle that's equipped with a star chase. I won't get too involved with that, but it basically deploys a dart onto the back of the vehicle, which then has GPS tracking. We can back off the vehicle, terminate the chase, and then follow it on a computer, which makes those chases a lot safer. So that's why we were asked to be involved, because we have two vehicles that are equipped with that system. The deputy started following and took the lead in the car chase. At a point where he started getting closer to the vehicle to actually deploy the system, a passenger fired a shot at the deputy at 23:53 hours at 103rd South and Hydraulic. At that point, they alerted dispatch that shots were being fired from the vehicle towards the officers, and the pursuit continued. The pursuit continued through portions of Butler County, portions of Cowley County, and at at K15 and Gouda Springs Road, officers were shot at again, and the sheriff's deputy was the lead vehicle. Shortly after that, the vehicle became disabled and stopped in the middle of the road at K15, about a half mile down from Gouda Springs Road. At that point, a female came out of the passenger side first with her hands up. The male came out, grabbed a hold of her, and held a gun to her head. There was WPD officers there, Sumner County deputies there, and Sedgwick County Sheriff's officers there as well. The suspect fired at least 2 rounds while holding the female hostage, and then turned and ran. None of the law enforcement officers involved fired any shots at that point until he turned, ran, and then started firing again at the law enforcement officers. At that point, at about 00:10 hours, the officers returned fire, striking the individual. EMS was called at 00:12 hours. WPD officers performed CPR until EMS arrived. However, he was pronounced deceased on the scene. The individual that was involved in shooting at the deputies from the car, and the same individual that shot at the deputies at the scene itself after running from the car, has been identified as Charles S. Johnston, spelled Johnston. He's a white male, born 3/4 of 92. I'll turn it over here to Sheriff Chambers and what his department is doing, since this occurred in Sumner County. However, at the back, and then we also have photographs here depicting what occurred at the time of the stop. The first photograph that you'll see is a law enforcement officer angle from his Axon camera, and you can clearly see the individual holding a female hostage, and that's from a rifle angle. We have another Axon camera video from another officer holding a handgun that you can also see the male holding the female hostage. After he turned and ran, the third photo that you'll see is from a law enforcement officer's Axon camera, and there's two circles where you can see the individual where he's at, and the circle closest to the officer is the dirt going up in the air from a bullet strike hitting right below where he's standing. What you can't see in this video, because the hands hide it, is there is another officer crouched down, and the bullet traveled over his head and then struck the embankment in front of the other officer where he's in a place of cover. So all three of those photographs are being depicted at the back. We'll also have copies for you, and WPD and SO can get those out to you. So, but if you hold on to your questions, we'll let Sheriff Chambers go next. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Obviously, because it ended up in Sumner County, then it kind of involved us. I did have a couple of deputies that were also in the pursuit towards the end of it after it came into my county. They also were involved in part of the shooting. Obviously, we're going to make this a joint effort in the investigation. I've been in contact with my DA as well as with the Sedgwick County DA, and we're working together to compile a comprehensive report that we can then present to both DAs and see what charges we would have for the other person that was in the vehicle, if any, as well as what the justification was for the shooting. Once that's compiled and we've done it, we're still actually processing the scene now. It's still not complete. When that's done, we'll be able to bring in more video that we have in other cars that are within the perimeter that we have not been able to pull that video yet, so we'll probably have more pictures down the road. I don't have a whole lot more other than that, other than we just have to process the scene, and as that information comes in, the interviews get complete with all the deputies and all the officers from Wichita that are involved, then we'll probably get more information out to you. I have at this point worked with Sheriff Easter's lab, and we're working joint together to work the scenes. There was one small scene in Cali County. I spoke with the Sheriff Folletti down there, and we went over and had my lab take care of that one, and then we're doing it jointly with the main scene in my county with Sheriff Easter. So at this point, if anybody has any questions of any of us.
Sir, did they actually deploy the GPS tracker?
You can clearly see on the video that as he's getting close to the vehicle, every time we got close to the vehicle, we were shot at. So we pretty much tried to keep away from getting close. But the first initial time that the deputy got close to the vehicle, you can see the shot fired and you can see the dart being deployed. Now, we were too far back. It didn't strike anything, but yes, we did deploy it.
How close do you have to be, sure, deploying that?
Within about 20 feet.
How long have you had these?
Almost 6 months now. We've deployed them on several other occasions, and they've been very successful. To be honest with you, we haven't done anything in the media because this is a tool that we use, and until we needed to talk about it in an incident like this, we didn't want the general public knowing that when they hear a thump on the back of the car that they've been hit with a GPS dart.
People are already kind of commenting on social media about the legality of placing one of these darts. Can you talk about why or why not?
Well, it's absolutely legal.
You don't need it.
It's open view, and just like how officers or deputies can walk by a car that's parked in the public parking lot and shine the light on it to see if there's guns or contraband in there, it's covered under the same type of state statutes, same type of case law. In this case here, it's actually a safety mechanism in hopes of slowing the chase down, hoping that it stops the chase and the suspect gets out of the car and runs on foot, because that's a lot safer. You can always have conspiracy theorists thinking that it's just us watching. This is simply a GPS device that is deployed on a vehicle that is running from us, that's a hazard, that's a public hazard, and that's committing, that's breaking the law.
What is the relationship between the suspect and the woman who was in the
They know each other. Other than that, I don't know if there's any type of intimate relationship.
The home, excuse me, West Rita, is that his home? That belongs, what related to that home?
It's a home that he has resided at in the past, and that's what caused the officers to go down there and set to see if they could find this individual. He's an absconder for state parole, as the chief had stated earlier. They had tried to apprehend him in the past, which led to 2 other car chases, which the chases were discontinued at that point. He is also an individual that was a suspect in a murder last year on Rita, but was never charged. It was found to be self-defense.
Commissioner, would you mind if they switched their cameras and
Absolutely.
talk about the pictures
Yep,
in the back? You guys want to move your cameras around so you can get a shot of the screens there.
So the suspect had a handgun?
He did have a handgun. We haven't collected it yet. It's still at the scene. And it also had an extended magazine that would hold 22 rounds that was attached to it.
Did you say how many rounds he fired?
We have no idea how many rounds were fired as of yet until we do all the forensic examination and the collecting of evidence in reference to how many officers fired, how many he fired, those type of things.
At some point, if we had heard that maybe they had switched the seats that he was driving on, do we know that he was always in the passenger seat?
Preliminarily, that's what we believe, that he was in the passenger seat during the entire car chase.
Do we know if he was forcing this woman to continue driving?
There was some intimidation there, no doubt about it, but they do know each other. She was driving him, and then when the car chase started.
The stopping sticks that disabled the vehicle, was that it?
No. Stop sticks were never deployed.
Was the vehicle disabled because of law enforcement
No.
action?
No. Due to the chase, the individual missed a turn, went up into a ditch, and when he came out of the ditch, that's when the second shot was fired at the deputies, and it also disabled the car.
One more question.
Yeah, keep in mind too, this guy's actively firing at the police officers, right? We are very fortunate that we are not standing here talking about a police officer that has been shot and killed. Very, very fortunate that our officers did not get injured in this case. Very fortunate.
Chief, the first shot, was that fired inside the city limits?
No. It was fired in Sedgwick County at 103rd South and Hydraulic.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.